Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters, if you are watching this right now, then Allah has chosen you for something special. Because today, I'm going to share with you a dua that, if you recite it after Fajr with sincerity, can bring light into your life in ways you never imagined. Every single morning when the darkness of the night lifts and the first light appears, Allah gives us a gift, the gift of a fresh start. And the Prophet taught us a dua that connects you directly with Allah at the time when your heart is calm, your mind is clear, and the world is quiet. This is the dua. Allahumma inni azaluka elman nafi'an, wa rizqan tayyiban, wa amalan mutaqabbalan. O Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge, good and halal provision, and actions that are accepted. My brothers and sisters, this dua isn't just words. It's a blueprint for a transformed life. Fajr is a moment unlike any other time of the day. It is the moment when the world is still, when the sky is slowly opening with the first signs of light, and when the heart naturally feels softer and more connected to its purpose. In this peaceful hour, Allah grants a unique opportunity for blessings, guidance, and protection. The early morning is not just a time for prayer. It is a time when spiritual doors open that remain closed throughout the rest of the day. The Prophet emphasized Fajr repeatedly because the soul at that time is undistracted, the mind is clearer, and the heart is more receptive to remembrance. When you stand for Fajr, you are actually stepping into a space where Allah's mercy descends, where the angels are present, and where your dua is carried upward with special attention. Many scholars describe the early morning as a time when the body wakes but the soul has not yet been drowned by the noise of the dunya. Think about it: before messages come in, before work begins, before responsibilities pull at your mind, you have a pure moment where you can direct your heart to Allah without interference. This purity of the moment is part of why dua after Fajr has such strength. When you raise your hands in the quiet of dawn and whisper your needs, your fears, your hopes, and your dreams, those words come from a place of sincerity. They come from a heart that is not distracted but focused. This sincerity is what makes dua powerful. Another reason Fajr is so blessed is because it is a test of true devotion. Anyone can turn to Allah later in the day when they feel energized. But the one who wakes from sleep to stand before Allah proves that faith is not just a belief. It is a priority. It shows discipline, sacrifice, and love. This sacrifice is not lost with Allah. The Prophet said that whoever prays Fajr is under the protection of Allah for the entire day. Imagine what it means to walk through your day under divine protection. Your decisions become guided, your steps become safeguarded, your worries become lighter, and your challenges become easier to handle. This protection is connected to the moment when you choose Allah over sleep, comfort, or the warmth of your bed. Fajr is also a time when destinies for the day are written. It is the beginning of your daily chapter, and the way you start determines how the rest unfolds. When you begin that chapter with remembrance, with dua, and with trust in Allah, you set a spiritual tone that influences everything that comes afterward. If you start your day with distractions, stress, or worldly concerns, your day becomes heavy. But if you start with Allah, you start with light, and that light spreads into every hour that follows. There is also a quiet beauty in the fact that Allah invites you to come to Him at a time when most of the world is asleep. It's an intimate moment between you and your Creator. The stillness of dawn almost feels like a personal invitation to reflect, to repent, to seek guidance, and to ask for whatever your heart desires. When you make dua after Fajr, you are speaking at a time when Allah's mercy is near, angels are listening, and your heart is open. These combined elements make Fajr one of the strongest gateways to spiritual transformation. This is why starting your morning with dua, especially the dua taught by the Prophet, can change the direction of your entire day and even the direction of your life. It is not just a ritual, it is an opportunity to rewrite your destiny with the help of the one who controls all affairs. The dua taught by the Prophet after Fajr is one of the most complete, profound, and transformative supplications a believer can make. It is short in words but vast in meaning, touching every aspect of a person's life. Spiritual, emotional, financial, and practical. When a believer recites this dua sincerely after Fajr, they are not just repeating a phrase but making a powerful request that reaches deep into their daily struggles, hopes, and long-term aspirations. The dua is, Allahumma inni azaluka ilman nafi'an wa rizqan tayyiban wa amalan mutaqabbalan, which means, O Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge, good and halal provision, and actions that are accepted. Each part of this dua is like a key that unlocks a different door of blessing. When all three doors open, a person sees their life change in ways they never expected. The first thing that makes this dua transformative is that it aligns your priorities with what truly matters. People often start their day in a rush, thinking about work, deadlines, bills, responsibilities, and tasks. But this dua places your spiritual and worldly priorities in the correct order before you even begin the day. You are asking for knowledge that benefits you, not knowledge that distracts or harms you. You are asking for provision that is pure, blessed, and halal, not wealth that brings problems or removes barakah. You are asking for your deeds to be accepted, not simply counted. This alignment brings inner peace, discipline, focus, and a sense of direction, because your heart begins the day by seeking what truly brings success in this life and the next. Another reason this dua is so powerful is because it covers the three essential needs of every human being. Every person needs guidance, sustenance, and acceptance. Without knowledge, a person walks in confusion. Without provision, a person struggles to survive. And without acceptance of deeds, even a lifetime of work becomes meaningless. By making this dua regularly, especially after Fajr, you are essentially asking Allah to take care of your mind, your livelihood, and your hereafter. These three elements shape every part of your life. And when Allah blesses them, everything else falls into place naturally. This dua also teaches humility. When you recite it, you admit that beneficial knowledge is not something you acquire by intelligence alone, that provision does not come from effort alone, and that accepted deeds depend on the purity of intention and Allah's mercy, not your actions. You are acknowledging that you need Allah for every step you take during the day. This humility softens the heart, brings sincerity into your actions, and removes ego. It helps you recognize that success is not measured by what you achieve, but by what Allah allows you to achieve and accept. The transformative power of this dua becomes even stronger when you recite it consistently. Daily repetition turns the dua into a habit, then into a mindset, and eventually into a lifestyle. You begin to seek beneficial knowledge not just in books, but in experiences, conversations, and decisions. You become more aware of what you earn and how you earn it, striving for purity and barakah rather than greed. And you become more conscious of your deeds, ensuring they are done with sincerity rather than for show. Slowly, almost without realizing it, you become a different version of yourself, a more mindful, grateful, and spiritually awakened person. Finally, what makes this dua deeply life-changing is the trust that accompanies it. When you make this dua after Fajr, you are entrusting your entire day to Allah. You are starting your morning by saying, "O Allah, guide my mind, bless my sustenance, and accept my deeds." With that trust, even difficult days become easier, stress becomes lighter, and challenges become manageable. It is not the words alone that change your life. It is the connection, faith, and surrender embedded in those words. And when Allah responds to a heart that trusts Him, He changes everything. Asking Allah for beneficial knowledge is one of the most powerful requests a believer can make, because knowledge is the foundation of every choice, every habit, and every path a person follows in life. When you ask for ilman nafi'an, you are not asking for information or facts. You are asking for guidance, clarity, and understanding that shapes your heart and mind in the best way. Beneficial knowledge is knowledge that improves your character, draws you closer to Allah, transforms your actions, and protects you from confusion and misguidance. It is the type of knowledge that gives light to your decisions, wisdom to your thinking, and purpose to your life. Without beneficial knowledge, a person may chase the wrong goals, fall into harmful habits, or make choices that bring regret. But with beneficial knowledge, even small steps lead to blessing and growth. When you make this dua after Fajr, you are beginning your day by asking Allah to guide your mind before anything else. You are asking Him to protect you from ignorance, doubt, and misguided ideas. In today's world, where people are overwhelmed by information from every direction, social media, news, conversations, trends, beneficial knowledge becomes a shield. Not everything you hear or learn is good for you. Some information weakens the heart, distracts the mind, and fills life with anxiety or comparison. But beneficial knowledge strengthens your faith. increases your peace, and helps you focus on what truly matters. It teaches you what is halal and haram, what is right and wrong, what is wise and unwise. It helps you recognize opportunities and dangers. It places your heart in a position of awareness rather than confusion. Beneficial knowledge also includes the understanding of how to manage your life in a healthy and balanced way. It is knowledge that teaches patience, gratitude, discipline, compassion, humility, and sincerity. It guides you on how to deal with people, how to respond to difficulties, how to improve your character, and how to maintain strong relationships. It teaches you how to navigate challenges while staying connected to your values. This type of knowledge makes a person calm, grounded, and resilient. It keeps your heart steady even when life becomes uncertain. Another beautiful aspect of asking for beneficial knowledge is that it helps you recognize your purpose. Many people feel lost because they do not know what direction to take or what goals to pursue. Beneficial knowledge clears the fog. It helps you understand why you were created, what Allah expects from you, and how to live in a way that brings you closer to His mercy. This clarity removes confusion and replaces it with direction. Your life becomes more meaningful. Your decisions become more intentional, and your days become more purposeful. This dua also teaches humility because it reminds you that knowledge is a gift from Allah. No matter how intelligent, experienced, or educated a person is, they only know what Allah allows them to know. When you ask Allah for beneficial knowledge every morning, you acknowledge that your mind depends on His guidance. This humility unlocks even more knowledge because Allah opens the heart of the one who admits their need for Him. Moreover, beneficial knowledge leads to action. It is not knowledge that sits in the mind unused. It moves you to improve, to worship more sincerely, to treat people kindly, to avoid sin, and to strive for excellence. It changes your behavior, not just your thoughts. It protects you from arrogance and ignorance. It strengthens your relationship with Allah and helps you navigate the world with wisdom. When a believer asks for beneficial knowledge after Fajr consistently, they begin to notice changes in their thinking, decisions, and emotional stability. Over time, they become more guided, more peaceful, and more aware of the truth. Their life becomes filled with light because Allah places light in the heart of the one who seeks knowledge that benefits. This is why this part of the dua is so powerful. It sets the tone for your mind, your intentions, and your entire day with the blessing of divine guidance. Asking Allah for pure and halal provision is one of the most important and meaningful requests a believer can make, because provision is not only about money or income, it is about every blessing that sustains your life, your health, your relationships, your opportunities, your safety, and the peace in your heart. When you ask for rizqan tayyiban, you are asking for sustenance that is wholesome, clean, blessed, and free from anything harmful. This dua is powerful because it shifts your focus from chasing wealth to seeking barakah, which is something only Allah can give. You may earn a small amount, but if Allah places blessing in it, it will feel more than enough. And you may earn a large amount, but if there is no barakah, it will slip through your fingers, leave your heart uneasy, or bring problems you never expected. Pure provision is a gift that brings stability to your life and contentment to your soul. This dua also reminds you that not all wealth is good wealth. Some wealth comes with stress, guilt, or consequences. Some people earn through dishonest means, cutting corners, or engaging in things that displease Allah. Even if the amount seems large, it will not bring peace. It may bring arguments, sleepless nights, and a heavy conscience. But when you ask Allah for halal and blessed provision every morning after Fajr, you are saying that you value purity more than quantity. You are asking Allah to protect you from earnings that harm your heart or your akhirah. You are asking Him to guide your steps so that the work you do is clean, moral, and pleasing to Him. When a person's provision is halal, their heart feels lighter, their home feels more peaceful, and their dua becomes stronger. The Prophet taught that a person who consumes halal has their supplications answered more readily. This shows that pure provision does not only affect your wealth, it affects your spiritual connection. It strengthens your relationship with Allah. It places blessing in your time, your thoughts, and your efforts. Halal provision feeds the body, but it also nourishes the soul. Asking for rizqan tayyiban also protects you from anxiety about money. Many people spend their days worrying about income, fearing the future, or doubting whether they will have enough. This constant fear drains the heart and weakens faith. But when you make this dua regularly, you are reminding yourself that your rizq is written by Allah, not by your job, your boss, or your circumstances. Provision is not determined by the hours you work, but by the one who provides without limits. This trust brings peace. It makes you work with contentment instead of fear, with gratitude instead of stress. Pure provision also includes emotional and spiritual blessings. Sometimes Allah provides peace of mind, good friends, a supportive family, health, or safety, and these forms of rizq are more valuable than money. When you ask for tayyib, provision, you are asking Allah to fill your life with everything that is good, pure, and beneficial, whether material or non-material. You are asking Him to open doors of opportunity, remove obstacles, and guide you to situations that bring growth and happiness. This dua also shapes your behavior. When you ask for halal provision repeatedly, your heart becomes more sensitive to what is permissible and what is not. You begin to avoid questionable income, dishonest behavior, or anything that compromises your integrity. You become more honest, disciplined, and responsible. Your character improves because you are consciously seeking purity in your earnings. Over time, making this dua after Fajr changes your relationship with wealth. You become more grateful for what you have, more patient with what you don't have, and more hopeful about what Allah will give you. You start to see your income not as a result of your effort alone, but as a gift from Allah. And when you live with this mindset, Allah increases your blessings in ways you never imagined. This is the true power of asking for pure, halal, and blessed provision. Asking Allah for your actions to be accepted is one of the most profound and humbling requests a believer can make, because it reminds you that the value of a deed is not in its size, its appearance, or how people see it, but in whether Allah accepts it. A person may perform a large amount of good deeds, donate huge sums, pray long hours, or appear outwardly righteous, yet if there is no sincerity, or if Allah does not accept it, those deeds hold no real weight. On the other hand, a small deed done with a pure heart, hidden from people, and done only for Allah's sake, can outweigh mountains in reward simply because Allah accepts it. When you make the dua for Omalan Mutakabalan, you are not just asking to do good. You are asking Allah to make those good deeds meaningful, sincere, and worthy in His sight. This request is deeply transformative because it shifts your focus from impressing people to pleasing Allah. Many times people fall into the trap of doing good for recognition, compliments, or validation. Even subtle desires, like wanting someone to notice your kindness or acknowledge your effort, can damage sincerity without you realizing. But when you ask Allah every morning after Fajr to accept your actions, your intention becomes clearer. You begin to purify your heart from seeking approval outside of Allah. You start doing things quietly, humbly, and for the right reason. Your worship becomes more private, your charity more discreet, and your good deeds more genuine. Another beautiful aspect of this dua is that it brings awareness to the quality of your actions, not just the quantity. Instead of counting how many prayers you performed, how many pages you read, or how many tasks you completed, you begin to ask whether those actions were done with attention, humility, and sincerity. This awareness raises your level of worship. You pray with more focus, you speak with more kindness, you give with more generosity, and you avoid sins with more caution. You become mindful that Allah is watching your heart, not just your movements. Asking for accepted deeds also protects you from spiritual arrogance. Sometimes when people do many good deeds, they start to see themselves as better than others. They might judge or look down on someone who seems less religious. But the one who continually asks Allah for acceptance is always aware that acceptance is not guaranteed. This makes you humble. You stop comparing yourself to others and instead focus on bettering your own heart and actions. You understand that only Allah knows whose deeds are truly accepted and that a person hidden from the world might be far better than someone praised publicly. Another powerful result of making this dua is that it strengthens your consistency. When you know your deeds matter only if Allah accepts them, you become more committed to doing them regularly and sincerely. You do not perform good deeds only when you feel motivated, watched, or praised. You do them even when no one sees, even when you feel tired, even when the world is busy, because you are doing them for Allah alone. This consistency is what builds strong faith and a resilient heart. This dua also brings comfort during moments of guilt or weakness. Sometimes a person feels that their deeds are small or insignificant. They feel that their effort is too little or that their mistakes are too many. But the beauty of asking Allah for accepted actions is that it reminds you that Allah values sincerity more than perfection. Even if you stumble, even if you fall short, if you keep trying and keep asking Allah to accept your deeds, He may raise them in value beyond what you expect. Allah looks at the heart that keeps returning, keeps hoping, and keeps striving. Over time, making this dua after Fajr shapes your character, your worship, and your intentions. It makes your day more purposeful because you begin everything with the hope of acceptance. You work harder on your inner self, cleanse your intentions, and seek Allah's pleasure in every action, whether big or small. And when Allah accepts even one deed from you, your entire life can change because His acceptance brings light, blessings, forgiveness, and closeness to Him. This is the true power of asking Allah to make your actions accepted. Reciting this dua consistently after Fajr is more than a daily habit. It becomes a life-changing practice that reshapes your mindset, your spiritual state, and your connection with Allah. Change in life rarely happens overnight, but Allah transforms the heart of the one who shows consistency and sincerity. When you make this dua every morning, you are not simply repeating words, you are planting seeds. Each day that you recite it, you water those seeds with faith. And with time, those seeds grow into new ways of thinking, new habits, new blessings, and new doors of opportunity. The consistency itself becomes a sign of your trust in Allah, and trust is what brings divine help into a person's life in ways they never imagined. One of the most powerful effects of repeating this dua daily is that it creates a spiritual rhythm that aligns your heart with Allah at the very beginning of the day. Your morning becomes different from the mornings of others. Instead of rushing into the day with anxiety, stress, or distraction, you begin your day grounded, reminded of your purpose, and aware that Allah is watching over you. This early connection to Allah affects your mood, your thoughts, and the way you respond to challenges. A person who begins their day with dua is not easily shaken by the problems that come later. There is a calmness that rests in the heart, because the day started with turning to the one who controls everything. Consistency in making this dua also develops discipline. Waking up for Fajr alone requires effort, and adding dua afterward shows true commitment. Discipline in worship often spills into other areas of life. You become more organized, more thoughtful, and more intentional. You begin to value your time and take your responsibilities more seriously. When Allah sees that you are consistent with Him, He places consistency in other aspects of your life as well. Your work, your goals, your relationships, and even your emotional well-being. Another important transformation that comes with regular recitation is that the meanings of the dua start to settle deeply in your heart. In the beginning, you may recite the words out of habit, but over time, you feel their depth. You start seeking beneficial knowledge in everything you do, not just religious knowledge, but wisdom that improves your life. You become more careful about what you earn, more mindful about how you spend, and more aware of what brings barakah. You also become more concerned about the sincerity of your deeds, wanting everything you do to be accepted by Allah rather than seeking recognition from people. The dua slowly rewires the way you think, helping you become a more conscious and spiritually mature person. Consistency opens the door to trust. The more you make this dua, the more you begin to trust Allah's plan for you. You stop worrying excessively about the future because you know that you asked Allah at Fajr to guide your mind, bless your provision, and accept your deeds. This trust brings peace. It relieves the heart from constant fear and uncertainty. You begin to walk through your day with hope instead of anxiety, with gratitude instead of stress. There is also a hidden gift in repetition. It brings you closer to Allah. When you consistently turn to Him, He draws nearer to you. You feel His presence in your life in ways that are subtle at first. An ease in your tasks, unexpected blessings, sudden solutions to problems, or a calmness that you cannot explain. These are signs that Allah is responding, that He is guiding you, and that He is changing your circumstances slowly but beautifully. With time, this dua becomes a source of strength. On difficult days, it feels like a lifeline. On joyful days, it becomes a reminder of gratitude. And on ordinary days, it becomes a gentle anchor that keeps your heart connected to Allah. Consistency is the bridge between dua and answered prayer. When you show up every morning and ask Allah sincerely, you will witness how He changes your heart, your day, and eventually your entire life.